Guitar Hero was more than a video game. It was a worldwide cultural phenomenon and a massive hit for literally anyone who wanted to pick up this piece of plastic. If you walked into a family function in 2007, there was a 90% chance that they'd be playing Guitar Hero, or Wii Bowling depending on the mood. This game turned people who have no idea what a Geno is into literal rock stars in their living room within seconds. To say that this franchise had a huge impact on the gaming industry would be a huge understatement. Even South Park made an episode on Guitar Hero. That's how you know this shit's big.
Check this out.
Late nights at friends' sleepovers, or shredding it up at the family Easter gathering, this game was everything and then nothing. What happened to Guitar Hero, and how did it go from this to this? The story starts out with me driving my ass to the game store to check out what they got, and oh nice, a Halo 2 Steelbook. Oh my god! I immediately picked this baby up and finally got reunited with the ultimate shredding axe. The second I saw this beauty sitting there, I got flooded with the memories of an entirely different era of gaming. I knew I had to grab it, so that's exactly what I did. I dusted off my old copy of Guitar Hero 2, and I plugged the guitar right into my console. Of course, missing the plug a couple times. After a long night of clicking away, missing notes, and then eventually getting kicked off stage, I got smacked with endless memories of sucking even more ass back in 2009 with my brothers. The more I lingered in that thought, I started to wonder, what happened? All the kids know nowadays is Fortnite. This game used to be on top. Everyone was either playing this game or knew of it.
Everyone seemed to go crazy over this Guitar Hero. People were talking about it. It's really cool.
It was such a massive moment in gaming. Where did all that go? This is one of the most badass games you can get your hands on. What the hell happened? After 20 years, we're going to be diving back into this franchise. This is the unstoppable rise and sad downfall of Guitar Hero. First, we gotta rewind time before we even had the design of this piece of plastic, or even the name of the game, Guitar Hero. Back to the 90s, baggy jeans, sloppy punk rock, and Mario Kart on the 64. This is the era where we saw the rise of the rhythm game genre on home consoles, with games on the PS1 like Parappa the Rappa, Dance Dance Revolution, or even Fib Ribbon. These games were sick and exercised muscles in your brain you didn't even know could move. And it only evolved when they introduced peripherals into the equation like a dance mat to involve your body more than just your carrots. Bleeding into the 2000s, the rhythm game genre doesn't seem to be slowing down. And now there's this little company called Red Octane in the equation. These fellas are hardware manufacturers for cool shit like dance mats for Dance Dance Revolution. Inspired by the Japanese game Guitar Freaks, Red Octane had a vision to create a controller to expand the rhythm games to an entirely new market in the West. A fresh take on rhythm games using an actual instrument instead of a lame-ass boring controller. Only one problem, they don't develop games. So now they set out on a quest to find someone to do that for them, and that's where they met Harmonix. Harmonix is a game developer largely made up of musicians who have one goal in mind: to make non-musicians feel like musicians. These guys were a perfect choice to pick for the job, as they already have experience in the rhythm game market with a few games already under their belt like Frequency, Amplitude, and Karaoke Revolution. Over the next 9 months, they're creating a baby. The developer and publisher then teamed up to piece together one of the most iconic games of the 2000s, Guitar Hero. To really feel the impact of this game, we gotta transfer back to the era. The birth of YouTube, the hype of the new Xbox pumping through your veins, Hurricane Tortilla, like what next? How about a new game that will change your brain chemistry forever? A plastic clicking stage diving experience you will never forget. On November 8th, 2005, we saw the release of Guitar Hero on the PlayStation 2, and this game was an instant hit. A huge success right out of the cardboard box. Saying this game was big is like saying the Xbox 360 is just alright. This franchise was huge! It pretty much took over the entire world over the next few years, and this was only the beginning. In just under 2 months, the game already sold $45 million in sales. It was safe to say this game was a hitter. Guitar Hero gave people an entirely new way of enjoying music. Now you don't have to be good to sound good. You just plug this in and you immediately transform into Sinister Gates. This game was flying off the shelves so quickly that Red Octane couldn't even keep up with the demand of all the guitars needed in stores. Walmart's needy ass was requesting way more than Red Octane could supply. It was basically a free-for-all out there of who can get their controller first. This game was transforming kids into rock stars within minutes, jamming Fat Lip in their living room like they just secured a stage at Warped Tour. Harmonix purchased rights to have real songs featured in the game by getting a company called Wavegroup to record covers.
Are we done? Can I go home now?
Rolling into 2006, this year changed everything for the franchise. Good things can't last for too long, apparently. Activision's over there rubbing their hands together like that one freaky-ass Sonic gif. In May of 2006, Activision bought Red Octane and the Guitar Hero brand for a whopping $100 million. They for real are like Dr. Evil, man. Later that year, we saw a company a part of Viacom, MTV Games, buy Harmonix for $100 $175 million. What is happening? These moves are kind of like the beginning of the end if you think about it. But at the moment it didn't matter. We were getting another Guitar Hero game releasing this year. Hell yeah! Guitar Hero 2 dropped on the PS2 on November 7th, 2006 and gathered $200 million in sales in less than 2 months. This game was more than 4 times as big as the first one, if that was even possible.
Guitar Hero 2, the best game ever made. Yeah.
It featured way more songs and even got a few master recordings instead of all of them being covers. There were 64 songs at release, which was 17 more than the last game. More characters to choose from, guitars to customize, and other gameplay features added as well. A new feature allowed for you to play along to different parts of the song, like rhythm and bass to add more depth to the replayability. There was also a practice mode where you can slow the song down and play through different sections to train your fingers to lock in. The next year in 2007, Guitar Hero 2 finally made its way over to the Xbox 360, and Guitar Hero was growing bigger than ever, reaching wider audiences by the second and introducing millions to the ways of the shred and arthritis. Guitar Hero was flooding into every household at a record pace. It was an unstoppable force that could not be overlooked. It was everywhere. For some reason, something happened between Activision and Viacom, causing Red Octane to be forbidden from working with Harmonix on another game together. Did you steal his hot Cheetos? Damn! They still had a contract to finish, so the last game together was Guitar Hero Rocks the 80s. Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock was the first game in the series that was developed by Neversoft, the people behind the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. And this game was released on October 26, 2007. It had a lot of the same game mechanics as 2, so it didn't really set itself apart much other than online multiplayer and a huge soundtrack. It had an insane lineup of 73 tracks, over half of them were master recordings instead of the covers. And it has Avenged Sevenfold in it, so that's my approval. This game also featured the Mjolnir mix from Halo, so it's a certified badass. When I was little, this game reminded me of the Wonder Waff. Am I the only one on this? Little gameplay details felt different since it was developed by Neversoft. They didn't have as much musical experience, and it showed in the gameplay with the note charts feeling different than the past games. But if you were a casual dude who didn't really notice, it didn't matter as much to you. You were just worried about not getting your ass thrown off stage. This was the first game in the series to release across all the major platforms. Xbox 360, PS3, and finally the Wii got their hands on this game, and it was the biggest launch for Activision at the time. It made $100 million in sales in the first week by itself. That's like at least 5 Auntie Anne's pretzels to put it into perspective. Less than a month after the release of Guitar Hero 3, we saw the launch of Rock Band. Wait, what? That name looks a little familiar. This is a game developed by the dudes responsible for the previous Guitar Hero games, Harmonix. They didn't want to stop making music games just because Activision was being a long-nosed bully about it all, so it was up to them to step up to the plate and make the games themselves. And that is exactly what they did, but with some additives to set it apart from Guitar Hero. Instead of just a guitar, we saw the introduction of the entire band. I mean, it's literally in the name. Look at this right fucking there. And how did they do this? A whole ass drum kit. Hell yeah. This game was a smashing success and sold over $600 million in sales. People were eating up these games, going from Guitar Hero to Rock Band, back to Guitar Hero. There was plenty to go around. This is where we start to see the oversaturation in the music gaming market, as there were now 2 new games to buy at once with a whole new set of peripherals to go along with it. A lot of people had to make a choice. They weren't growing money out of their ass. Remember, this is 2008 we're talking about. Guitar Hero World Tour released in October 2008. And this game is one of those games where you either love it or you hate it. Or if you're like me and look at the soundtrack and see Blink, that's all it takes. To me, I think this soundtrack is incredible. We got so many heavy hitters in there. You got Blink, Linkin Park, Sublime, Paramore, NoFX, No Doubt, Michael Jackson, Van Halen, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Smashing Pumpkins, Steely Dan. Like, dude, come on. You could also create your own shitty songs to listen to with the in-game music studio. This game is also running on a different engine than 3, so it may feel different in some areas. The gameplay feels a lot like the 3rd game, but they introduced these slide sections, and I don't know. I think I'm ass, but whenever I see these, I know I'm gonna fuck up. Wait, didn't Rock Band do this last year? Yeah, these games almost took pages out of each other's books during this era. From the existence of Rock Band being similar to Guitar Hero, then Guitar Hero taking the band idea from Rock Band. Like, they for real said copy my homework, but don't make it obvious. While there's no ill intentions of competing with each other, it's obvious and plain to see that these games are going head to head in the market. They both achieved almost the same thing, and it just depended on what side you took. World Tour was also the first game in the Guitar Hero series to have every single track feature the master recording instead of covers from previous games. I would love to see the bill on that check. Holy shit. In 2009, we saw a new Guitar Hero game. Actually, hold up, not just one. We saw 6 new Guitar Hero games. 6. Leading up to this moment, there were 6 total games in the series to begin with. Nothing like some good old milking from Activision. Okay, if we really want to talk about milking, one of these games didn't even feature new tracks. It was just sold as a greatest hits type game for a full 60 doubloons. You want my left nutsack too? Damn! I'll just go play all the old games I bought. I already have the tracks on them. We saw Guitar Hero centered entirely around bands like Metallica or Van Halen, which are pretty much glorified DLCs. These are really cool concepts, but being sold as full-ass games is crazy. The other Guitar Hero games releasing were...
On the right-hand side here, we have the turntable controller. So full 360 rotate.
Wait, where's the guitar?
Hey, this is Taylor Swift, and I'm so excited because my songs Love Story, You Belong With Me, and Picture to Burn are all available for you to play in Band Hero. You're gonna love this game.
I mean, these are alright, but that's pretty much all I can say. Nobody asked for these. The vibe of Band Hero just feels off. It doesn't feel like Guitar Hero. I know it's not Guitar Hero, it's Band Hero, but come on, it's literally the same shit. The colors and the fonts and animations in the text, it doesn't scream Guitar Hero like this does. What the fuck? What? I didn't know that. Angels and Airwaves, like Tom DeLonge's like second band, is on here. The only thing saving these games for me right now is the soundtrack, and we haven't even touched base on what's going on with Rock Band. We saw 3 new releases from them, so this now adds up to 9 new music games to buy in 2009. That's $540 before the government takes all my shit. How do you expect me to buy all this? I don't spawn in money like a GTA 4 cheat code. I mean, that'd be pretty sick if I did. Imagine spawning in a helicopter to find whoever the fuck is responsible for all these games. The fatigue is starting to hit us now. We've been running full speed for 4 miles. It's time for a breather. We never got one. Sales started to plummet as Guitar Hero 5 barely even sold 1 million copies. They thought the more titles they pumped out, the more revenue it would spin them, but it turned out to be the exact opposite. The genre was rapidly declining due to sheer oversaturation and people seeing right through Activision in their sneaky ways of repacking things and selling them for full price. They were after your wallets, and it showed pretty blatantly with how many games they shat out within a year. Most of them ended up being entries that felt less polished and not as fulfilling to play as the earlier titles as well. You could still go back and play all those games. It's only been what, like 2-3 years? It made sense why nobody was buying all the new ones. In 2010, Activision realized the sales were going bye, and they didn't want to lose more moolah, so they shut down Red Octane, the masterminds behind creating this beauty of a controller. The rest of the staff would eventually be molded into Activision. To smear poop on the dead corpse of hope, Neversoft was set to be thrown away after development of the next game. Things were not looking good, and it's all downhill from here. September 2010, we saw the release of Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, and this is pretty much the nail in the coffin. Sales were lower than ever, and they packed it up pretty quickly as DLC started to become unavailable soon after due to them losing licensing to some of the songs. Yeah, they realized that licensing songs is expensive, and they don't want to lose any moolah, remember? This is Activision we're talking about. They can't afford to lose that $1.80, come on. After Activision took a peek at the dire state of the Guitar Hero franchise, Neversoft was then shut down in 2014 and merged with another studio. In 2015, Activision decided to take one last swing at Guitar Hero, and they released Guitar Hero Live. Oh my god, this one is this completely changed everything we knew and loved about Guitar Hero, like the charm, the personality, everything. I don't even want to talk about this one. It's not even worth it. You already know what I'm gonna say. The game sales were horrendous, and this was officially it for Guitar Hero. This was the last release we've seen from the franchise, and it's been 10 years. It's safe to say that Guitar Hero is officially dead. But not if you turn around and play all of the existing badass Guitar Hero games that make you feel like you're performing live in the LBC. I'm serious, go pick up one of these guitars. They will change you just like they did back in the day. In a pretty weird turn of events in 2021, Epic Games ended up purchasing Harmonix and had them develop Fortnite Festival, which was released in 2023. This is basically the closest we can get to a modern Guitar Hero. This game mode's actually pretty unreal. How did Harmonix go from this to this? This is actually my first time learning that Harmonix made Fortnite Festival, and that actually makes a lot of sense on how they're pretty similar. That's wild to think about, man. Overall, Guitar Hero died due to a few reasons, but mostly because of oversaturation in the market. And while Activision, if you want to be quick with it, there were like 20 Guitar Hero games out there for people to play within like a 5-year span, and interest quickly faded. It didn't even fade. That shit got shot in the head by Activision. The cost of licensing also didn't help at all, since they needed to renew each of these contracts. And for the number of huge artists and set lists each game called for, it became way too costly to keep up on it, so everything eventually crumbled. There's also other factors that come into play as well, like rock music in general not being as popular as it was the years before. The mainstream taste in music sort of shifted towards the late 2000s and early 2010s to a more of electronic pop sound, and everything kind of followed suit. Whether that played into the downfall of Guitar Hero is actually a pretty good question that I can't answer because I'm not that smart, y'all. There's many factors that played into Guitar Hero's downfall: oversaturation in the market, expensive peripherals to buy and keep up on, mainstream music taste shift, and probably the most important one out of all of them, the deflating interest in the market. There was a couple years there where rhythm games were getting shoved down your throat left, right, and center, and people probably just got sick of buying them. But after all of these years of revisiting Guitar Hero, I've honestly grown a new appreciation for even the shittier games in the franchise. Some of them are overlooked, like the DS Guitar Hero. Y'all, you need to get on that. What are your favorite Guitar Hero moments? Shredding it up at the family gathering or late night sleepovers? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. And what should I cover next on the channel? I'm honestly down. I'm open for anything. I'm feeling good! I'll give you a hint. The next video is probably going to be this. Oh! I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace! Happy birthday, Guitar Hero, and most importantly, happy birthday, Zoe. Whoa.